Welcome back to the table, guys. My name's Daggett. This is Daggett Designs. In today's video, we're drawing a Japanese Komainu, also known as a Japanese food dog or Shi Shi dog. So we're going to start off by drawing an oval. I like to start off with an ovular shape for the head. And then I like to sort of find a spot somewhere a little bit lower on here to place my eyes. And this one's going to be a little bit of a 3/4 view. So place one oval to the right here and another one off to the left of that line, like so. It's okay if it sticks past the edge of the circle a little bit. Now for the nose, what I like to do is come sort of forward a little bit and up slightly so it actually cuts over where this eye is. And I'll just do a circle, quite a large one in this case, and two smaller ovals on either side of this, like so. This one's going to be more visible. Right, now in terms of a muzzle sort of area, I'm just going to come down from where the nose is, about the center, and come back towards the eye, up and back forward, and then out and back up on the other side. Okay, because we're seeing it from a bit of a side angle, like so. Now I'm going to add some eyebrow areas to our dog here. Just going to add in these curves, like so. Okay, this is going to be sort of the rough mapping out of our face. Now I don't want the head to be quite that round on that angle there, so I'm just going to bring a bit of a line that cuts back on this sort of an angle, and we'll refine that a little bit later on. Now to create the sort of bottom mouth section, I'm going to come down and then back slightly. Okay, this is going to create the right angle for the mouth. And I'm going to do a curve that comes up towards the mouth, like so, at the sort of the back of the muzzle area, and then curves around as though it's connecting to the other side, like so. And now for the bottom part of the jaw here, I'm going to add in a circle, another circle, and then this curve that comes back and up and around to form the cheek area. So the back of the jaw comes up and into the cheek area of the face there, and this is all going to be filled out with the curly hair of our Komainu here. Now I'm going to come to just behind the eye here and a little bit further back, and this is going to be a placement for our ear, which in this case I'm just going to draw in this rough sort of dog ear shape, I suppose, like so. And I like to add this little folded over section to it, just like that. I like to start off with the eyebrows. So starting off to the back of this, I'll add in a spiral like so, and coming off of that and coming around again and creating these small loop patterns like so. And this is going to create that curled up, the curls of hair that is, you know, quite common with the food dog design. Okay, and you can come from the other side here and create that same sort of spiral look. Now if you're enjoying today's video, please hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out a lot and it doesn't cost you nothing. And make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around and see more of my content. Now you're going to repeat a very similar process on the muzzle area. Just coming in here with these small spirals and then small loops towards the center portion of the muzzle there. And on this side, you're not going to sort of see as much of that spiral, so it might sort of just be more the little loops of the mustache there. Now as for doing our nose here, in between where the two circles here intersect, that's where it turns into a nostril. And then you can follow that outer oval around to create a nostril. And you can pretty much do the same on the other side. Cutting it short at the top so you can add the top of the nose there. So that's going to give you the nose shape. And then I like to just bring this sort of squiggly, wavy line up for the bridge of the nose. Now at this point for our eyes, I like to loop around the bottom here and come out towards the nose with a line. And now I can link up the front of the eye and the back of the oval there to create the eye shape. So that's going to give you this sort of slightly recessed bit where the cheek comes over the front of the eye a little bit there, sort of pushing up into it. And then you can add in your pupil and your iris, whichever way you like. In this case, I'm just going to do a pretty basic sort of straight ahead look with the pupil and iris there. The other eye, you're just going to loop around the outside. Okay, like so. And then you want to just add in this little extra bump at the bottom, which is going to give you the cheek, the other side cheek, what's visible there. Right, now to get started on the mouth, for the bottom lip, I like to just draw in a solid line, and we're going to boost that out a little bit, just making these dipped areas a little bit fatter, and these up areas a little bit skinny. This will create our lip. I like to keep that pretty simple. And now to draw in the teeth, I'm going to start with these two dipped areas and add in these sort of pointy but a little bit rounded teeth shape. You can do them as pointy as you like. I like to round off the end of my teeth a little bit. Just think it gives them a little bit more of a realistic look. And now for the smaller teeth, in this case, I'm just going to do these little curves, okay? These little portions of circle for the bottom teeth. They don't need to be super detailed in this case. And now for the tongue, I like to do a folded back tongue. So I'll do the tip of the tongue like so, adding that little almost love heart shape in the middle, coming down and following my line up and back into the back of the mouth like so. That gives you one half of the tongue. You can find your center, follow that around to create the center vein, and then you can follow the outside line around to create the front portion of the tongue, which is mirroring this, so it should be the same shape as this here. So that will give you your Komainu tongue there, and now you can link up that other side of the mouth like so. So that's going to give you the bottom jaw section of your foo dog here. Now to add the upper teeth, in this case that mustache is going to cover most of the upper teeth, so I'm really only going to add the sharp or the canine teeth. You kind of got to estimate it a little bit. I like to sort of do the outside of the nostril sort of area, and you're not going to see the full tooth because they're being obscured slightly, so sort of just the very tip of that tooth is going to show through underneath the mustache there. Alright, now I'm going to turn my page again. We're going to start working on this bottom area. So I'm going to start up the back of the cheek area here. So this is the cheek shape, but behind this is where the jaw really sort of starts, up closer to the ear. I'm going to come in and create a spiral, again for that curly sort of hair. And then working off of that, I'll create these smaller hair flicks with just these small curved lines. Okay, and every now and then you can go ahead and throw in another spiral shape. It's like the start of a new section of hair. And you want to follow that line down and around, so I like to keep this area a little skinnier and the hairs a little bit smaller. Okay, now getting to this bottom part where the chin is, you're going to throw in another curl similar to the eyebrow section there. Like so. And then I think it's important to come down a little bit come up slightly and come down again. Now that's a bit more of a personal preference depending on the style that you're drawing. But I like to sort of bring it from wider to thinner and to wider. This follows the same pattern as the bottom lip there. Now for this outer section, you're not going to see the spiral as much, so I'm just going to bring the fur around like this. And then you're going to want to bring a little bit of that on the outside here, only a very skinny little portion of it. So in this case, I just add a little bit of fur going up that side of the mouth, and that sort of mirrors whatever fur you would see on this side of the lip here. Now for the ear itself, I'm pretty much going to follow the exact line that I laid down in my sketch, including the fold over section. And then on the inside of the ear, I like to trace out this little semicircle and then adding a fur texture to it, the same way that we've done down the cheeks and around the face there. That's going to create like a fluffiness on the inside of the ear, like a little tuft of hair that's on the inside of the ear. Okay, now the sketch portion of this is nearly there, so we're going to start by completing the head here. Now I'm going to come from this outer eyebrow, and there's no exact formula for this. I like to do a wave up to about the center point, and then I'll overlap it slightly and maybe come down the other side with a bit of a wave. Now at this point it's not going to join directly into the ear because the Shi Shi dog or the Fu Lion here, it's got curly hair like a big mane. That's why sometimes it's referred to as a lion. And so in this case I like to leave this portion open at the top here and throw in these spiral hairs like this, okay? The same way that you've been doing these curly hair textures all over the place. You're going to start to throw some of them around the back of the head here. And that's going to create the mane of your Komainu here. Now once you're pretty happy with the mane on your Komainu here, you'll want to add in some sort of wispy hairs, and you're going to need to decide which way you want the direction of your background flowing. In this case, if the wind was blowing forward, we're going to have hairs that are moving in this direction, and I'm going to start on the other side of the face. So coming, sort of just below the mouth area here. I'll start with just a squiggle, okay? So it's just a squiggly line like so. Now to start building this up, I'm going to start a bit wide and I'm going to double up my line, so I'm going to make it parallel, and then I'm going to slowly taper that down until it joins in with my original line, and at the end is just one single line, like so. Now you're going to do this again. I'm going to come off the top this time, do the same thing, off the bottom, and you're essentially bulking out the base of the hair and keeping the very front of it nice and wispy. Like so, and that's going to give you a long sort of wisp of the main hair at the back of the hair here. So coming from our bundles of hair, we can do the same thing. Again, you want them flowing in the same direction. So that's our first line there. I'm going to follow it back a couple of times and then start to bulk out the back section of the hair, and that's going to give you a long wisp of hair. And I like to do quite a few of these following the direction of my background, and this will help fill out these areas that don't have a lot of hair. Alright, so at this point I'm going in and I'm doing the line work for the Komainu here. Now you're going to notice that my lines are thick to thin in certain areas. I am lining with a brush pen. Now this depends on what you're creating. So essentially, if this was going to be a tattoo flash or a design that I intended specifically to tattoo, I would go ahead and line this with a single thickness nib. just boosting up and bulking out the lines where I want them to be a bit fatter. In this case, this is more of an illustration piece that I'm just demonstrating to you guys how to draw the foo dog itself. And so I decided to use a brush pen because this gives you a lot of line weight variation and it gives you some really nice expressive lines. And this sort of imitates really nicely the traditional brush painted method of Japanese illustration. Now, the Japanese Komainu are a mythical creature that resembles a lion or a dog, and they're often seen as guardians of the Shinto Japanese Buddhist shrines. They're typically depicted in pairs, with only one of them having an open mouth. This represents the beginning of life, and the other having a closed mouth to represent the end of life. Komainu are said to ward off evil spirits, and they are protectors of a sacred space. In irezumi, which is the traditional art of Japanese tattooing, the komainu is often used as a symbol of protection and strength. The tattoo is believed to offer the wearer protection from evil and misfortune, and to provide them with the courage and strength to overcome challenges in their life. The komainu tattoo is typically depicted in a fierce and intimidating manner, emphasizing its protective qualities. And that is it, guys. That is how we draw a Japanese Komainu tattoo design. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, bye bye.